If there's two things that we know Melania hates, it's Christmas decorations and her husband, Donald Trump. Melania wasn't known to be very present during the first term, but the second term has been outright shocking. According to this reporting from the New York Times last week, Melania has spent fewer than 14 days at the White House in the first 108 days. A historian from Ohio University says, "We haven't seen such a low-profile First Lady since Bess Truman, and that's going way back in living human memory, nearly 80 years ago." She hasn't been seen on the golfing trips, she wasn't there for Easter, and although she did accompany him to the Vatican City for Pope Francis's funeral, when she landed back in Newark on Saturday afternoon, it was Mrs. Trump's 55th birthday. The president gave her a kiss on the cheek, she got into a car, he climbed into Marine One, and they went their separate ways. They didn't even spend her birthday together. Now you may be saying to yourself, isn't it a little bit tasteless to be talking about the inner workings of a person's marriage? Well, this is the president after all, and we have to remind ourselves, not only did they do this to the Obamas during their presidency, but they're still doing it. Rumors surface every few months that the Obamas are headed towards divorce, the latest one coming as recently as last month. To which she responds, "They couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself. They had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing." Now the Obamas are clearly in a happy marriage. Any rumors that they're getting divorced are just trying to stir the pot. The Trumps, on the other hand, well, there might be some evidence that they are basically estranged, separated. If they weren't the president and the first lady, if any other couple in day-to-day life was acting like this, then we would all say that they're estranged. And that's according to the top journalist on Trump's inner workings, Michael Wolff.
I mean, the Melania story is head smacking. It is the most obvious. It is right there in front of our faces, and no one can quite find the language to express it.
Well, what the story appears to be that she's just not there, right? She turns up for things like the Easter egg roll. She turned up for the inauguration. There's clearly no physical affection between them. Is that what you mean? Or does she have a whole separate life with someone else?
Let's just proceed from the fact that they clearly do not in any way inhabit a marriage as we define marriage. And I think maybe we can more specifically say they live separate lives. They are separated. The president of the United States and the first lady are separated. That's a huge headline. No one will say it as in that way. Let's reduce it to what we understand, which is here's a marriage, and the principals are estranged. They don't speak to each other. They're separated. The marriage is crumbling. The New York Times did a piece the other day, but it was all kind of coy about this. Melania is in. I don't even know what the message was.
I think the message was about how many times she'd been to the White House or how many days she'd been there in the first 100 days, right? And it turned out to be 14.
Yes, that was the fact basis, but they didn't go and say, this is obviously a marriage in trouble. It is a marriage that is, the American public has been sold a bill of goods here that Donald Trump and his glamorous wife, that runs entirely counter to all of the facts here, including the fact that they don't spend any time together.
And the fact that people at the White House say that when she goes there, she's treated as if she is a visitor.
In the White House, this is the way it was at Mar-a-Lago. It's the way it was in the first White House.
Do you think people care? Why is it significant? Why does it matter?
Just think about how it would read for any other presidential couple. If Jill Biden suddenly walked out, if
Michelle Obama had, right.
Yes, and that actually the Michelle Obama story, that story now lurks all over
right. It's all over the internet.
We can't yet say it, but we're on the verge. We're on the edge of our seats, ready to say it. When you could say it, obviously, about the Trumps.
How big do you think the loss will be in the midterms?
I think it will be impressive.
Well, Michael, we're going to have you back on to see if you're predictions come true, but there is no one I enjoy talking to more about the Donald Trump phenomenon. And your point about him doing what he always does, which is he self-destructs. He has cycles of winning and he has cycles of losing.
Yeah, and remember, because he wins, when he does win, it's also because of his self-destructive nature, because you can't take your eyes off of him, because he is whatever he is, more compelling than any other politician in the United States.
He's more compelling than any other actor too, or any other person who's in public life, right? I mean, an extraordinary creature. I've got one final question for you. Is he on a weight loss drug?
Yeah, he is. Yes.
Which, do we know which one?
Yeah, I think he's on Ozempic. I mean, that's what the people on the Mar-a-Lago terrace say, and they monitor his intake.
Excellent. All right, Michael, you've answered a question that, again, I thought was happening in plain sight, that you can see that he's losing weight and he's wearing different suits. It was provoked by him wearing a blue suit to the Pope's funeral.
I just left in that part about him obviously on Ozempic because I thought it was funny. You heard him say it here, folks. I mean, he's right. Any other marriage, this would be considered separated. They aren't together. They don't spend time together. They don't sleep in the same bed. They don't even have intertwining lives. It seems like they have less of a marriage and more of a business transaction. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.